Have you guys ever looked at something or desire something so much that your heart just starts beating rapidly, faster and faster and faster forward to the point where you're just like, man, I have to have it. So you work at it, you try to get other people in and help you attain it or achieve what you're desiring so much with your eyes that you see. But yet when you get it, yet when you attain the thing you wanted so bad in your life, it was not sufficient. It didn't truly satisfy you the way that you thought it was. I mean, I felt that for myself. You know, in high school, I joined an Army program called JROTC, and throughout that program, I achieved many medals, achieved many awards, achieved many high positions, being the executive officer of that program, being the battalion commander, like winning a whole bunch of awards, a whole bunch of trophies, getting a whole bunch of standing ovations. But at the end of all of that, I was still left unsatisfied. It didn't truly fill the hole that I knew was in my heart. I thought the applause would fill it. I thought the cheers would fill it. I thought the awards that I could just put up on my shelves in my room could fill it, but it did not. And I want to make the case today that the reason why, not only in my life, but in our lives here today, when we go after the things of the world to try to fill us, and after we get what we desire with our eyes, what we ran after with our hearts, it's not satisfying, unsatisfactory. And that's because we're trying to fill our lives and the hole in our hearts with things that was never meant to do that only God can do. Today, I'm going to go through Ecclesiastes chapter 2, and it was written by a man named Solomon. Quick background on him: he was a king of Israel after his well-known father, David. And God asked him, what do you want? I'll give it to you. And he asked for wisdom. So he was the wisest man in the land of Israel. Not only that, wisest man that has ever walked this earth. And so, let's get into it. It says this in Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 1. I said in my heart, come now, I will test you with pleasure. Enjoy yourself. But behold, this also was vanity. I said of laughter, it is mad, and of pleasure, what use is it? I searched with my heart how to cheer my body with wine, my heart still guiding me with wisdom, and how to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was good for the children of man to do under heaven during the few days of their life. I made great works. I built houses and planted vineyards for myself. I made myself gardens and parks and planted them in all kinds of fruit trees. I made myself pools from which to water the forest of growing trees. I bought male and female slaves and had slaves who were born in my house. I had also great possessions of herds and flocks, more than any who had been before me in Jerusalem. I also gathered for myself silver and gold and the treasure of kings and provinces. I got singers, both men and women, and many concubines, the delight of the sons of men. And then he goes on to say this, beginning at verse 9. So I became great and surpassed all who were before me in Jerusalem. Also, my wisdom remained with me, and whatever my eyes desire, I did not keep from them. I kept my heart from no pleasure, for my heart found pleasure in all my toil, and this was my reward for all my toil. Then I considered all that my hands had done, and the toil I had expended in doing it, and behold, all was vanity, and a striving after wind, and there was nothing to be gained under the sun. So you see here with Solomon, he had it all. I mean, like he said here, everything that his eyes desires, he did not withhold that from himself. He wanted a pool, he got it. He wanted a garden, he got it. He wanted a forest with fruit trees, he got it. He wanted male and female slaves, he got it. He wanted wine, wanting pleasure from wine, he got it. Everything that Solomon desired with his eyes, ran after with his heart, he got it. But yet, he says, he had no prevail in seeking what he truly wanted, fulfillment from these things. He said it was all vanity. It was worthless, futile, pointless, meaningless. And the funny thing is, we're no different from Solomon. I mean, what are the things that we are running to in our life for true satisfaction, for true purpose, for true worth? What are we striving after? I know for me, it was sex, it was money, it was achievements, it was applause from my parents. There's so many other things. Is it relationships for you? Is it your academic achievements in high school or college? Is it the love that you desperately crave in your heart that the people around you won't give you? what are you looking for to fuel you? Because I tell you, Solomon had everything, but yet he still was not filled. You know, it kind of reminds me, Solomon kind of reminds me of my grandparents. Whenever, or like my parents at some points when they used to say, oh, baby, I've done that. I did that already. Like, trust me, you don't want to go there. Like, I lived the life. Like, I did all the things. You don't know me like how I know me, like how my friends and other family members know me, how I grew up. And it's true. It's so true. They have lived the life and did the things, and so now they can testify to us that it won't work. You running after the things of the world won't work. And the crazy thing is, Solomon, going back to him having all wisdom in all the land of Israel, he was very wise. But even with all the wisdom that he had, he made himself a fool, seeking after the things of the world continuously. Oh, the pool didn't work? Let me go build a garden. Oh, the garden didn't work? Let me go get slaves, male and female. Oh, that didn't work? Let me go get concubines. This is the same thing that we do. We keep running after the things of the world to fill us again and again and again and again, expecting a different outcome, expecting an outcome of satisfactory in our hearts. And let me tell you this, that is insanity, my friend. See, the crazy thing is, look at the language. Pay attention to the language that Solomon uses here. He says, and whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. Who does this remind you of? Not only ourselves, but Eve in the garden. It says that when Eve saw the tree, it was a delight to the eyes and was desired to make one wise. It's the same language. She saw and desired and she took. He saw and desired and he took, but yet they still had that same outcome of everything that they took apart from God being worthless. But there is good news, because there is a true God out there who loves us, who has created us, who wants to fill us, who wants to save us, who wants us to truly enjoy these things and not make these things out to be worthless as we have made them by putting them in the place of our Creator. And this is what this Creator says. In John 6, it says, Jesus said to them, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me shall not hunger, and whoever believes in me shall not thirst. This is profound. Do you want to know why? Because Jesus recognizes the reality of our hunger. He recognizes the reality of the thirst of our souls, and he's telling us, hey, I know you've been looking to everything and everyone else in the world to fill you, but I am the bread of life, the only one who can fill you. I am the sufficient one. You want love? Come to me. I'll fulfill that. You want peace? Come to me. I'll give you that. You want true comfort? Come to me. I have that. I am the bread of life. I'm the one that's going to fuel you to the point where you won't have to hunger and thirst after the things of this world any longer, because you found it in me. You found your satisfaction of your hunger in me. You found within your thirst quenched in me. You found it in me. See, it's so cool, because this is what Paul says in Acts 17 about God. Acts 17 verse 24, he says, the God who made the world and everything in it, being Lord of heaven and earth, does not live in temples made by men, nor is he served by human hands, as though he needed anything, since he himself gives to all mankind life and breath and everything. This is crazy. This verse essentially points to the fact that God is sufficient for himself. He does not need us for anything. He does not need to ask us for anything. He doesn't need to borrow our wisdom. He has everything. So what makes us think that if God is sufficient for himself, he cannot be sufficient for us too? See, when Jesus came down to earth, being fully God and fully man, who did he depend on when he was tempted in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights? It was God. And that should point to something, because when Jesus was at his lowest as God, he depended on God to get him through it. He didn't depend on man. He didn't depend on Satan. He didn't depend on what he can find in the wilderness. No, he depended on God, because he knew that God was the only sufficient source for him. And it's so crazy. It's so good. And it's so true here today for us too. What do you need? Image bearers of the Most High. What do you need? Ones who were created and formed in your mother's womb by God. What do you need? What do you need, men in this room? What do you need, women in this room? Because let me tell you this, God can give it and so much more abundantly, above all that you could ever ask for or think, according to the power that works within us through the Holy Spirit. He can give it. And Jesus says, you can attain this bread of life. You can attain this satisfactory in your soul. By what? John 6:47 says, truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes has eternal life. I am the bread of life. That is who he is. So no longer should we leave this room trying to again and again and again find that satisfaction in the things of the world, albeit the things of the world are good things that in the world that God created. But they were never meant to be put in the place of God. They were meant actually for us to enjoy these things, and in that enjoyment of the things that God created, be pointed back to him in thanksgiving. No longer do you have to strive. No longer do you have to grasp all the things that you can. No longer do you have to look at the things with your eyes of the world and say, I need it, I need it, I need it. Because all your needs can and will and shall be satisfied in Jesus. Thank you.